Wednesday's update brought a lot of bug fixes, a lot new swatches, some performance improvements, and some new bugs. Hello, my name is Jennifer, and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. So I'm going to cover all of that. I'm also going to touch on the mod impact. I'm going to briefly talk about some new issues, a new important file that you should be backing up, and also the game was prepared for the Reaper reward event, and I will touch on that at the end of the video. So initially we had this, there's a colorful update to build by. 650 color variants have been added, and there are new items such as archways, doors, and even ground covers to spruce up your terrain. Check out the vibrant colors and new items in the video that's showing there, and for more details, scroll to the end of the patch notes to see a list of all the build by items. So then they can't wait to see how we mix and match. So I actually went through and took a look before I updated and saw how many variants there were compared to what we got afterwards, and I'll cover that when we get to that part of the patch notes. So the first thing they talked about after those new things was the fact that we had some performance improvements to the game, which would be for everyone. So they essentially reduced the memory usage, they improved the simulation performance, and they reduced the load time. So those were the three areas that they worked on to try and improve just how the game works. The next thing is they gave us a DirectX 11 updates, which is for PC, i.e. Windows users, though there are some exceptions, and also it should bring some benefits to Xbox Simmers since it uses a console-based variant of DirectX 11. So if you are a Windows user and you use an NVIDIA or AMD graphics card, it should automatically default to the DX11 executable. But if you're on other GPUs like Intel or Intel where you have like an integrated Intel graphics, you'll have to wait until later. For now, it'll continue on DX9, and they did cover that a little bit later. So some DirectX 11 enhancements are you should have faster graphics processing, which reduces delays between the CPU and the GPU for smoother gameplay. There is a DirectX 9 option in the graphics setting so that you can go back to DirectX 9 if you want to. Just when you open the game, when it's on DX11, it will use a different executable, the basic one, versus when you open it using DirectX 9, it has DirectX 9 in the name of the executable file. The one without any DirectX reference, that's the DirectX 11. That's important if you are having any issues with your antivirus, to make sure that you are using the correct trusted application, or just have both be trusted, but that's just sort of how it works. Here's an example of what the new graphics options look like on Windows. When you are in DirectX 11 automatically, it'll say DirectX 9. Also, the first time you go in, it'll come up and say, welcome DirectX 11. Now keep in mind, if you, like me, were using the DirectX 11 opt-in, it won't automatically do this until you go out and remove that command, which is another way that if you are on an Intel processor and it's using those graphics, then you can opt in to DirectX 11 from that same thing. But they are recommending you disable mods if you use a DirectX 11 command line argument if you're using it on an Intel GPU. There are some issues with mods even regardless, and I'll cover that a little bit later. So if you're having issues under the DirectX 11, you might want to switch back to DirectX 9, even if it opted you in automatically. Of course, there were a ton of bug fixes, which we were expecting because it was a huge laundry list. And I actually went through and compared everything on the laundry list to everything on the bug fix section. And there are a few things that we got that weren't on the laundry list, and I've highlighted those in yellow. And there was like one fix that was expected from the laundry list from the Love Struck section that didn't get made. So I will, show that as we're going through this. So for this first part, the new thing that wasn't on the laundry list was that they addressed an additional issue where the game would fail to load and display error code 123 when traveling between lots. I know that was a big issue that they had mostly fixed previously, so they have further worked on that and fixed it more. On this list, when attempting to save, error code 0 no longer occurs related to gigs or neighborhood stories. And I know a lot of people were having that problem, so hopefully that has been resolved. I know also a lot of people were commenting about, the ceilings, that if you had a room above, the lighting of the ceiling was correct, but if it just had a roof, then it wasn't, and that's supposed to be fixed. And you can see that there are a whole bunch more fixes there, including the bottom one, where when recent neighborhood stories mention a sim that died in another neighborhood, switching to the respective sim household will now have an urn present. I really think that's preparing the game for the new Life and Death pack, or perhaps even the game update before that. And then we have some more bug fixes for base game, which you can see all of those there. And then for affecting multiple packs, that top one is one that I know was a very common concern, where the apartments, university dorms, and penthouses, the walls and doors weren't cutting away properly in wall down and cutaway viewing mode, and now they should be fine, and the rest are sort of create a sim things. Anyways, we're going to move on. So get to work, city living, cats and dogs and seasons. You have some here that were various fixes, and that cats and dogs one, I know there was at least one mod to fix that, so that would be obsolete, but we'll touch on that when we get to the mod area. And then we have Discovery University, Eco Lifestyle, Snowy Escape, and Cottage Living. Those fixes were all on the laundry list, now all on the patch notes, but keep in mind that Eco Lifestyle, that blue void lines no longer appear in Evergreen Harbor. There is actually a new bug report, since it doesn't appear that that has actually been fixed. High school years, growing together, Horse Ranch, and For Rent. You can see all of those. Couple there are similar from High School Years and For Rent, where the work from home tasks for the Simfluencer video game streamer, you're now going to get paid. I can confirm I played a little bit, and that actually was the case. And then similarly, there is a work from home career for Rent, the handy person, and you should be getting paid for that too. And you can just see all of the rest of those there. Now, Lovestruck is where we actually got more fixes than were on the laundry list. Everything highlighted in yellow, of course, which was for additional fixes. But the rest of the items were from the laundry list. That top one where everybody should now be able to see gallery sims if you have it enabled. So they have a thing where save games that use Cupid's Corner were, I guess, getting too big, I'm guessing, because now they stay at an appropriate size. You've got a romance enthusiast category now under attraction characteristics in the Create a Sim preferences. There were some items that weren't sorting or filtering due to missing tags, and they've been fixed. And romantic interaction should no longer be available for family members at the gym. So here's the laundry list for Lovestruck, and the one that didn't make it to the bug fixes, Sims will have the option to pay bills when they are due. Now we have here Dine Out, My Wedding Stories, and Werewolves. And for the My Wedding Stories, those weren't like bug fixes. They were just like essentially doing kind of a mini refresh of the pack, where now it actually properly works when you do this. I even tested earlier today, and it seemed to work way more smoothly than I did before. And you can tell them to sit on one side or the other side, which is quite fun, because I mean, obviously when you have weddings, that's quite normal in real life that they will, sit on the bride's side or the groom's side, or whichever. But anyway, so it definitely seems to work a lot better, and I can confirm that's the case. And then the last bug fixes are for laundry day through to party essentials. And with respect to that nifty knitting one, that's legendary knitting will now count for excellent knits for the aspiration. But unfortunately, they don't have the fix where Sims can't resume or frog their knitting projects. There is a mod fix for that, which I haven't seen any reports as being broken, so hopefully it is still working. So of course, we have the written part of the updates to build by. We got some new items. You can see prairie style entry frames. That is plural. We did get more than one. Pointless renovation doors, again, more than one. And that trabeated entry frames, again, more than one. Then the Delight, the Vault 2 Pro level bar, and the Sloop Junior are bars, all three of them. And then we got 2 doors, which you can see here, apart from the frames, which I'll show after. You can see the 3 new bars with the, clip of the color swatches that you would get, or how many at least. And then you can see the 2 doors. And the doors are short, for short walls. Obviously, you can put them in taller walls, but you can put them in a short wall. There are the different frames. The front is the short, the middle is the medium, and the back is the tall. And you can see the left is the prairie style. We got 1 for the short because there was an existing narrower prairie style one, but then we got 2 for the medium tall because there wasn't any. For the pointless renovation, we got 2 for the short, and medium, but there was one already for the tall, the narrower one. So we only got obviously the wider one. And then for the trapeze entry, or however you call that, we got 2 across all the different wall types. Now for the new ground covers, which are quite fun, you can see all of the different variations of them. So they have the 21 rock, which there's one of. You've got the fine geometry gown pavers, again, 1, bright moss 1. The grassy pavers, there are 5 variants, though. Of course, for those, because it's a cover, they actually show individually and you can actually see them. And you can see like a little bit of grass between the pavers. And then they have, 5 variants of the gravel pavers. Again, obviously in that case, you got gravel between them. The Murky Moss, a little bit hard to see because of the color of the grass that I had done it on. It's similar color, but obviously it's moss like the other 2 that we have. And then for the Pebbles Please, there are 3 variants. There's the Rich Moss, the Rock Storm, and the Weeds Are Flower too. So fun to get some more ground covers for decorating your ground and doing your landscaping. And then here is the new variants, which is all the wording on the left from the patch notes. And then on the right there is where, as I said, I went through before I updated my game and I counted for every single one of them how many variations we had beforehand. And I also have a version of my game that I haven't updated. So I hadn't for the mega windows, which it shows as mega windows. And that means like windows. There are 13. 12 are like for the normal wall and bigger, of course. And then 1 is for the medium wall and bigger. So if you counted the list, it said that was 89 different things that would have got it, but actually it was like over 100 things got more variations. So you can see the before and the after there on the screen for those first 29 per the patch notes. Then we have the next 30 for the patch notes. Again, anything mega seem to have more versions of it. And then here are the final 30 per the patch notes. In that case, it is only 30. A few of these things are things that are locked by careers. So lots more color variations for that. And I know for that hipster hugger there, I use it a lot. My Sims go into the tech career a lot. So it's kind of nice to have, that many more variations of it because I usually do use that couch. So I'm happy to see the extra colors that are there. So now as for bugs, I'm going to cover them in more detail in a separate video, but here's just a summary from Krenric from yesterday. So one thing is the off the grid challenge, lot challenge keeps a lot from loading. So if you're having that, you can go in from manage worlds, take that lot challenge off, and then you should be able to load into that game. Popular again, city living, people are having issues with overlapping festivals. Now there is an issue where you get an error with a developmental milestone tracker, which I think causes the save not to load. And that has to do with the playmat that comes with the kit that came out yesterday, that if you disable the kit and you had an infant who learned their milestones while on the kit, it essentially breaks it. Obviously the workaround is just re-enable the kit, or there is a mod that fixes the issue for custom content. It was already an issue for custom content. Now we got, you can't request tables in a restaurant on a date. Another one, they're looking for info and saves. People are reporting that their happy login rewards are removed. Mostly console players, but I did see a couple people from like Mac/Windows saying that. And there's also some render issues for the new kits. Essentially, the shadows and stuff aren't working properly. There's an error code 109 where they need some saves. And as I had already mentioned, that eco lifestyle, the void and whatnot, that is actually not fixed, but that is a new bug report. And the Mega Window Deluxe version, it's not transparent glass, it's like opaque. So, and then there's some other things that she was trying to look into. So as I mentioned earlier, the update brought a new file that you need to now back up if you're a computer player, if you want to keep your happy at home login event entitlements. So you can see it there on the screen. It's called account data DB. And if you have your extension showing, you'll see it's a package file, but it is a package file. But if you don't have them showing, then you won't see that. You'll just see the first part of it. So you can see there where it is. And all those details are from Krenric and this tweet here, where she did some testing on that new account data D package file in conjunction with the Happy Home event, and this was her result. The entitlements are now saved in that account data DB package file and no longer in the user setting.ini file. However, if you have any user setting.ini backups from before the patch, it can be used to recover the rewards if they are gone, because I think essentially what it does is if you put it in, it'll then transfer it over to that new account data DB package. So now what you need to do is back up that account data DB package file going forward. And I personally, if you have a backup of that user setting from before the update, I would continue to keep a backup of that also. So the important thing here is that it is no longer going forward in that user setting.ini, but anything from before, it's still in there. But going forward, you need to back up the account data DB package folder. One thing to note is if you're a computer player, here's some troubleshooting steps you can take if you're having problems. And the first one is to test with your mods out of your game and make sure that your saves folder doesn't have any mod setting files while you're doing that, because it can continue to cause problems if you leave those in. I recommend repairing your game in the EA app. Or on Steam, this is verified game files, delete that local thumb cache file. And if your game works with your mods folder out, do the following. Check the status of your mods in CC. Well, not as many mods broke as I thought might. Some did, and some that did broke quite badly and can cause issues with your game not loading. And you can try doing a 50-50 of your mod if you don't see the status of some of them. And then if the issue is still there with your mods folder route, check EA Answer Headquarters to see if it's been reported. And if not, consider doing a bug report, though of course those have to be on mod-free saves. And the other thing you can check is you could try doing a factory reset of your user files in case you maybe miss some hanging things in there that are causing problems, because sometimes people, even when they take their mods and custom content out, they still have problems, but a factory reset of their user files can help. And then I'll have a link to Crinrig's guide on how to do that down below. And just remember, mods and custom contents would have been automatically disabled. So if you go in and you're wondering why your Sims are bald and naked, that's probably why. Now I'm going to cover very briefly Loose List. She lists non-18 plus mods over on EA Answer Headquarters because we can't have anything over there that raises the game rating. That's just part of the rules of EA Answer Headquarters. But you can also check out Scarlett's list if you want to cover everything, or go check out on various Discords. So you can see here the newly broken obsolete game mods, and you can see that a pile of them have been updated because they were there and then crossed out and say they're cleared or updated. Most cases updated. And there are a bunch that are obsolete because of some bug fixes that happened in the update. So here's a big list of updated game mods at the time where I got this screenshot. So you can see it did affect some mods, and there's quite a few here, but compared to the number of mods out there, that's not actually that many. But the bolded ones are the popular ones that a lot of people tend to use. So you can kind of see Turbo Driver Wonderful Whims has been updated, but it's not yet on CurseForge. If you use the All Scenarios mod, it's been updated, and so was the Searchable Household Management. Not that that's bolded. Of course, UI Cheats broke, but it was updated pretty much immediately. Same with the more columns in CIS. You do use Roberky Meaningful Stories. It was re-updated. The only reason I'm highlighted it is because it was re-updated. So if you think you got the updated version before today, September 20th, then you need to re-update it. And also another popular one that a lot of people use is that King Zace, 15 clubs per sim. It was updated today. So some of the things have just been recently updated. And then here is updated CC and build by mods. So you can see there's a short list there. And there's the status of core injector testing and protection mods. So it shows you what the most recent version is. And then here is the list of what was physically cleared, though the list is selective, so it's not comprehensive. So MC Command Center was cleared, so was better build by, as you can see, and all cheats, which is actually commonly used too, but you can see the list there. There were some issues with MC Command Center that aren't game breaking, but were mentioned over on the first screenshot slide that I showed here. So moving on to the Reaper reward event. So it starts September 24th when you're going to befriend Grim, complete a series of quests, and unlock rewards as you go. There is a blog post which I'll link down below, but sort of my summary of it is it starts September 24th at 9 a.m. Pacific, and I will link down below so you can find out when that is for you in your own time zone, and it ends on November 19th. It is a gameplay-driven event. There are 6 weeks of quests where you get, I think, 2 new quests every week for those 6 weeks, and you will get an extra 2 weeks at the end to complete it. If you start late, you can catch up on all the quests. You actually collect points while you do the quests, and then you use those points to buy the rewards, which will then be available across all your saves forever, not just the save you did the quest in. And these rewards are going to be tied to your EA account versus a local file on your computer or console. So here's an example of like the quests in the first week there, and you can see that, you know, there'll be more as they come and sort of some of the things that you can unlock. There's their write-up about how it works, which I already provided a summary, but if you want to look at those details, you can go check that out. I will be linking to the post down below. And there are all the rewards. So in week 1, that's Grimm's gramophone. So you'll be able to summon the Grim Reaper, some earrings, which look different on either side, and then a lot challenge. The second week, there's pants and a special book. The third week, there's those shoes and a bicycle. The fourth week, there's that picture and a tattoo. And then the week 5 is a top and a special drink you can make with the mixology skill. And then week 6 is a special eye and a coffin. And there's a limited time bony collectibles, which I'm not really sure much about it yet. That's just all it is. But essentially there's a written summary of the various things. So with that book, the tome allows you to gain skills in cooking, gourmet cooking, and fishing all at once. So that's kind of it. And the picture is a true piece of haunting art, because if you look at it too long, things could get a little toasty, and I saw that you might get scared looking at it. There are frequently asked questions, which you can take a look at. I just, like I said, summarized it. And here is a tweet thread by CBX Sims. So they sort of showed all the things. The coffin is functional and your Sims can sleep inside it, similar to the ones in the Vampires game pack. And if they're vampires, they can woohoo in it. Then you have the pants. They have 8 swatches, including some that are plain. That shirt, again, there are 8 swatches, including some plain variants. Now we have a close-up of the tattoo, which is of the Grim. And then the earrings have different designs on either side, and it has 7 swatches, including some bright colors. There are the boots. There have 6 swatches and little skulls on the buckles. And the new Grimophone has an option to summon the Grim Reaper. I will link to this, so if you want to see the videos, you can see it down below. It didn't actually show the Grim Reaper coming, so I didn't get a video of the video kind of thing. And they did say in the notes about it that that was what it was going to be used for. And then you have the portrait of Lady Mimsy Alcorn Shallot in the garden, and the Grim Cruiser, which the short video clip just shows it driving along, which it has a dead cow plant, a skull on it. And then there's the book, The Green Lady's Lost Home. It says, can be read and teaches Sims with high cooking skill the recipe for ambrosia. I don't really understand that, because as long as you have max the cooking skill and the gourmet cooking skill, you already learn by default the recipe for ambrosia. So that's my overview of this week's update and the impact it had on mods, new re-emerging bugs, new important file to back up, and the upcoming Reaper's Reward event. What was your favorite thing from the update? Have you noticed any improvement to the game? And do you plan on participating in the Reaper's Reward event next week? I'd love to know in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!